Hello, my name is Frédéric van der Hagen. I am professor at the University Polytechnique Hauts-de-France. I am the coordinator of the WP10 innovative driving cabin of the European project Carbodin. The goal of this WP10 is triple. Firstly, we organize the state-of-the-art about the human-machine interface in transportation domain to identify promising technology to be included in driving train cabin. Secondly, we organize two surveys about feedback of railway staffs about innovative and promising technology to be implemented in human-machine interface for future train cabin. And at the end, we make some recommendations about the future development of future drivers' cabin. The state-of-the-art focus on manufacturers of different kind of vehicles, such as trucks, cars, or ships, and also a literature review on research project and experimental applications in different domains through transport simulators. And the last aspect of the state-of-the-art focus on promising new human-machine interface in two ways: the impact of technology on human factors, firstly, and secondly, the identification of kind of devices that can be used for future cabin trains, such as gesture, voice, haptic, or touch-based human-machine interface. Regarding the preparation of the survey number 1, we define a series of train driving tasks. For each driving task, we wanted to obtain feedback about railway staff and different kind of human-machine interface. For some of them, we propose some illustrations with moving done with our simulator in Valenciennes. For this first survey, we receive answers from more than 1,700 drivers or railway staff from 15 European countries. Here is the driving task table we define. So it is divided into 3 categories: key elements, auxiliary systems, and analysed devices. And for each category, we have different groups. And for each group, we have different tasks. So for each driving task, the survey consisted in proposing different human-machine interfaces, for example, audible, gesture, haptic, head-up display, touch, or voice-based human-machine interface. And we also propose different kind of sounds for action request and action acknowledgement. And I have to notice that the sounds were designed by Sound and Sight company from Pivot. Survey number 2 depends on experimental protocol that was designed regarding the results obtained on survey number 1. We use Train SimWorld 2 simulators. We use also Leap Motion to implement gesture control and Google Assistant to develop a voice control device. We use also the wheel driver for manual control. We had several constraints for this survey number 2, that is to say pandemic restrictions. So we decided to involve French-speaking drivers for this survey. And the target was a minimum of 20 drivers for testing the experimental protocol. Soon for the survey number 2 was adapted from the result coming from survey number 1, and we included also open questions given by Pivot 2. This table shows the use of technology for action request or information notifications regarding specific tasks. So we use gesture or voice control devices for action, and we use sounds for information notification. For gesture control command, we use a Leap Motion device, and the command are activated through specific movement with 1, 2, or more fingers with the left or right hand. For the voice control command, the driver has to give verbal commands such as open right door, increase cabin light, and so on. Sounds tested on survey number 1 differ from sound tested on survey number 2, but sound tested on survey number 2 were defined regarding the result obtained on survey number 1. On this survey number 1, some sounds were completely rejected. So regarding the 6 sounds that were appreciated or relatively appreciated, other 10 sounds were designed and all of them were accepted. We identified also specific sounds for different categories of tasks. Regarding technology for future human-machine interface, we obtained divergent and convergent results between survey number 1 and survey number 2. Divergence were observed for information notification on 2 categories, key elements and auxiliary systems. For the rest of the table of driving task, we have convergent results. For example, for situation awareness, the main technology selected is the touch screen, but in bracket is a secondary possible technology to be implemented. For divergence on information notifications for both categories, key and auxiliary categories, we have a common technology. So I repeat, on bracket is a secondary possible technology. And for example, for situation awareness, the head-up display can be used because it was identified on both surveys. For the survey number 2 is the main technology. For the survey number 1, it's a secondary possible technology. To conclude, we assessed a bank of 20 sounds coming from 2 subsets, survey number 1 or survey number 2. We obtained better results about the evaluation of sounds from survey number 2 because there were designs regarding results about survey number 1. We identified dedicated sounds for each driving task. Regarding promising technology, we make differences between action request and information notification for each driving task. We selected promising technology for new human-machine interface based on firstly a literature review and secondly on result about survey number 1. Survey number 1 or survey number 2 were done successfully despite a strong pandemic constraint. For survey number 1, we obtained feedback from more than 1,700 respondents, and 21 drivers participated to the experimental protocol of survey number 2. We obtained a convergent result between survey number 1 and survey number 2, and regarding divergent results, that is to say, we have possible different shows for being implemented on a future human-machine interface in train cabin. And finally, we have done a series of recommendations for future human-machine interface for a cabin train. A couple of articles and deliverables were done during these 2 years Carbodin project, and other articles are planned in the future. Thank you for your attention, and do not hesitate to contact me for any questions or for obtaining more information about this Work Package 10 of the European Carbodin project.